We are preparing to open up in prayer. Please assume a position of prayer that is most comfortable for you. Attention prayer. Surely I am being turned to thee, O Allah, striving to be upright to him who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not from among the polytheists. For surely my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for thee, O Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. No associate has he, and this am I commanded. I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King. There is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been greatly unjust to myself, and I do confess my faults. So please grant me protection against all of my faults, for none grants protection against faults but thee. And guide me to the best of morals, for none guides to the best of morals but thee. And turn away from me the evil and the indecent morals, for none can turn away from me the evil and indecent morals but thee. O Allah, bless Muhammad, and bless the true followers of Muhammad, as thou did bless Abraham and the true followers of Abraham, for surely thou art praised, worthy, and magnified. O Allah, make Muhammad successful, and make the true followers of Muhammad successful, as thou did make Abraham and the true followers of Abraham successful, for surely thou art praised, worthy, and magnified. Amen. You may take your seats. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, we thank Allah for sending prophets and messengers to guide humanity back to the right path. We thank him for Moses and the Torah. We thank him for Jesus and the gospel, Muhammad and the Holy Quran. Peace be upon these worthy servants of the one God. So whether we call ourselves Jews, Christians, or Muslims, or go by none of these names, we are all one family, one sisterhood, under one God. We thank Allah for his intervention in our affairs here in America, where no prophet or messenger had ever come. But he sought to intervene in the person of Master Farrakhan Muhammad. And he raised for us a leader, teacher, and guide, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, in fulfillment of the scripture, behold, I will send you Elijah before the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he raised and left us with another, who is a divine teacher, a divine guide and warner for us, and is our champion in the cause of freedom, justice, and equality. And that is none other than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And in their names, I greet you in the greeting words of peace and paradise. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. And this simply means peace be unto you. Welcome to the Save Our Girls. A nation can rise no higher than its woman MGT class. Well, you may say, what does MGT mean? In our lessons, the answer to this question reads, what is the meaning of MGT and GCC? Answer, Muslim Girls Training and General Civilization Class. This was the name given to the training of women and girls in North America. How to keep house, how to rear their children, how to take care of their husbands, sew, cook, and in general, how to act at home and abroad. These training units were named by our prophet and leader of Islam, W.D. Farrakhan. Every civilization is built on the basis of those 7 units. When Master Fard Muhammad came to North America, he found the black man and woman, a people who were once the builders and architects of the world, had been robbed after 400 years of servitude, slavery, and the worst oppression than any people have ever suffered. We were forced to take care of the Caucasian and build his world. We were their housekeepers, reared their children, sewed their clothes, cooked their food while we were given the scraps. After being forced over several generations to care for another people, we had to be reintroduced to how to care and do for our own selves. So our best friend, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, set up the MGT class for the black woman to restore us to our own in fulfillment of what Jesus said, that Elijah would come and he would restore all things. All praise is due to Allah. We are so thankful that today he left us with one to continue his great work. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who is the head of our class. His love for us is beyond what words can describe. He has divine insight into the true nature and value of the woman. And he speaks to the core of our being like no one else can. So we anticipate a timely message from him on today. Before he comes on, we want to share with you just a glimpse of the training that we received under this divine teacher. Our first training unit is how to keep house. This house that we are presently in was specifically prepared for all of you. It was established as a national center for the re-education and retraining of the black man and woman of America, a capital for black people. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan stated, "Out from that capital shall come universal knowledge that is applicable to every member of the human family, including the Caucasian." He also said, it is not a Muslim capital. It's not a narrow thing that's just good for those who call themselves Muslims, because he said, I am more than that. He said, though I am a Muslim, I am born into the world to preach for God. And when you preach for God, you cannot slight humanity, particularly that black humanity out of which their longing, their cries have produced you. All praise is due to Allah. He went on to say, I am for my Christian brothers and sisters. I am for those who don't believe in God, because I know that you don't believe in God because you have not found him in the hypocrisy of religion. But when you get acquainted with the truth, you can't help but believe in God. He is in the very core of your nature, end quote. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was guided to name this building after a woman. Mariam, we say Mary, from whose womb came Jesus, the Messiah, who represents hope for fallen humanity to be made new. Mary is a sign of you. You, Black woman, have been chosen to birth a new people. So special attention and care is given to this building so that you will be proud to call it your own. However, we must give even greater care to this house. This house is only significant because of this house. So in our training of how to keep house, we learn the supreme value of this body, to take the best of care of it and not poison it with bad thoughts, bad food, drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, and that which would subject it to danger. All praise is due to Allah. See, my sisters, you deserve the absolute best because you are the real house of God. All praise is due to Allah. So we are taught to be clean in mind and body. And if our minds are clean, then we will want everything around us to reflect that cleanliness in our homes, in our communities, in our nation, and the entire world. Next, we will show a brief video that displays the various aspects of the significance of how to keep house. Jesus taught, "Greater love has no one than this, than one lay down his or her life for a friend." Our next presentation is an example of a young woman who was willing to face death so that her young sister could live. She is a Muslim, and her sister is a Christian. And we must say, please do not believe what you see in the media. We are Muslims, and we love our Christian brothers and sisters. All praise is due to Allah. Many of us have family that are Christian. I was reared from the womb to love Jesus, and the man that we follow represents him. So in that spirit, please receive a sister who is a sign of the love we all can develop for each other in the bond of sisterhood. Please receive Sister Nadira Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I thank God for all of his messengers and prophets, for the books and scriptures they brought to the people during their time. I can never thank Allah enough for his intervention in our affairs in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. I also bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the eternal leader of the Nation of Islam, and I further bear witness that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is our divine leader and guide today. I greet you in the nation's greeting words of peace and paradise of Assalamu alaikum. To our honored guests, who are all of you amazing women and girls here in the audience, I would like to personally welcome you and thank you for taking time out of your schedule to spend the morning with us as we learn how to save our women and girls. Please give yourselves a round of applause for being here today. As I stand here before you, I am humbled to share this stage with so many great women and our leader, teacher, and guide, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We are taught to give credit where credit is due, and I would like to thank Sister Captain Sandy Muhammad and her staff for allowing me to be a part of this distinguished group. All praises due to Allah. In May of 2014, I learned that one of my students, Asia Booth, was in need of a kidney transplant. The manner in which I found out, I know Allah God was present. I overheard a conversation Asia was having with one of my coworkers about the copywriting process for her book. Myself, being a reader, was intrigued that a student was an author and asked what her book was about. She said, "My condition." I asked, "What do you have?" She replied, "I really don't like talking about it." I said, "Well, I would love to read your book." She had it with her that day. It was titled My Dialysis Journey, and it chronicled a day in the life of her dialysis treatment. After reading her book, I immediately decided I wanted to volunteer to go through the process of becoming a living kidney donor. Thank you. Asia was shocked. I didn't know this at the time, but Asia had in her possession that day the preliminary paperwork to initiate the donation process for a student who had shared with her she might be willing to get screened to see if she could become a donor. So on that same day, I reviewed those papers, made sure our blood types were compatible, and completed that paperwork. That began my kidney donation journey. After a few months of extensive testing, it was determined that I was a suitable donor, and Asia and I were a perfect match. 2 days before surgery, I had the honor to speak with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He prayed the most beautiful prayer for Asia and I, and on December the 15th, with Allah at the wheel and a host of surgeons, nurses, tech support, family, and friends, the kidney transplant was a success. Thank you. I'm pleased to announce that at 4 months post-surgery, Asia and I are healing well and on the way to a full recovery. Asia was scheduled to be here today with me, but due to circumstances beyond our control, she is not here today. But can we all please just give her a round of applause for sharing her story, her testimony? When I began preparing for today, the theme that my talk was centered around was do unto others as you would like done unto you. While discussing this with a wise man, my father, he said, love ye one another as I have loved you, is on a higher plane because God does nothing to offend or hurt us, but we, operating on the level of the flesh, may do things to others we would not mind being done to us at times. In John 15:12, Jesus says, "This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you." I would like you to turn to your neighbors and repeat after me. Love ye one another as I have loved you. Thank you. Love ye one another as I have loved you. Sisters, why is this difficult for us to do? Why is it easier to dislike, throw shade, or belittle each other based on looks, attire, money, religion, or a man? Thank you. Rather than supporting, respecting, and loving each other because we understand what it means to be women. We are birthed from a culture and history of greatness, of being treated royally, and us treating our fellow sisters like the queens they really are. This is our true nature, and we must return to this state in order for us to save our women and girls. We are the mothers of civilization. Master Farad Muhammad taught the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan reminds us today that a nation can rise no higher than its woman. That means we are the standard. We lay the foundation for the change we want to see in the world. In order for us to save our women and girls, we must save ourselves as well. We must transform. The transformation that must occur so our families must experience heaven on earth begins with us. Thank you. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, 75% of the work in building a nation lies with the women. That means when you teach women, you teach a nation. We are the first and most influential teacher. We represent Allah God because we are created in His own image. We are beautifully and wonderfully made. We are the women of God. We represent God's peace, power, and love. The women and girls of today recognize and need genuine love, so we must be real with them. Love must be at the core of everything that we do. Why? Because God is love. He loves us unconditionally. He continues to love, bless, and forgive us despite our shortcomings. He does this daily. So why are we not forgiving each other? Why isn't the olive branch being extended? Why are we our worst enemy? A woman, thank you. A woman should not be another's worst enemy, but we are. We should not be in competition with each other because in reality, we all desire to be successful. Wouldn't it be a beautiful day when you're able to look at your beautiful sisters here in the audience, nationwide, worldwide, and know that all of them are your friends, your help, your support, and your strength when needed? The day must come when we are our sister's keeper and truly want for her what we want for ourselves in order for us to save our women and girls. Now, some of you may say, myself included, that God is not through with me yet. This is true. Allah God is always working on us, molding us. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, "Up, you mighty nation, accomplish what you will." He knows our full potential and wants it to be manifested. We all believe we have the time to get it right, but the truth is we don't know when Allah God is going to call us home, so we must declare today to serve Him and serve humanity, which is love in action, so that He may tell you, "My precious servant, job well done." Thank you. Love ye one another as I have loved you. Jesus was not the only one teaching this principle. In the Holy Quran, chapter 19, verse 96, it reads, "Those who believe and do good deeds, for them the beneficent will surely bring about love." Allah's bringing about love for the righteous means that He, Allah, loves them Himself and inspires love for them in the hearts of other people, while they also love Allah as well as their fellow beings. Isn't God good? He's the perfect teacher, the perfect example, because He proves His words and His love through His actions. This is the type of example that's needed, that's required in order for us to save our women and girls. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, in his message on the Black woman in 1971, which is found in the book 7 Speeches, said, "Without you, sister, the nation is finished. With you properly taught, we have a great hope and a great nation." Being properly taught means first learning how to love God, love yourself, love your family, love your community and your nation, then sharing this with your husbands and teaching your children, families, communities, and nation how to do the same. Love is a verb, an action word. So, dear sisters, let's begin to act on these words and help God and all of His messengers and prophets with their help uplifting our people, specifically with saving our women and girls, because our future lies in their hands. In closing, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said in Closing the Gap that each of us have come into this world from God. Since He created nothing without an aim or purpose, there is no human being that He sends into this world that does not have a significant purpose to fulfill, with a gift that each can do excellently. Do you know what that means? Do you know what that means? You matter. You matter. You matter. We all matter. Our lives matter. When we begin helping our women and girls to seek and find their purpose and gifts, the work that is crucial to saving our women and girls, saving our nation, and ultimately saving the world will be put into motion, and the great hope and the great future that Master Farad Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan envisioned will become a reality. I would like to leave you with a poem by Marianne Williamson titled, "Our Deepest Fear." Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightening about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in all of us. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give people permission to do the same. And as we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. It is our time to shine, dear sisters. Let's save our girls. Thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum.
Beautiful. At this time, I want to acknowledge a woman who is an excellent, a most excellent example of one that was taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the MGT class. And because of her willingness to be taught and trained in that class and made into a great woman, she helped to produce a great man. Let us acknowledge our beloved mother, the First Lady of the Nation of Islam, Mother Khadija Muhammad. We love you, Mother Khadija. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. And when we say Allahu Akbar, that means that God is the greatest. And it's appropriate that we go into the next part of our program. The success of family, community, and nation rests in the success of marriages where the man and woman are rooted in God. Our next presentation will be on the training unit, how to take care of their husbands. Please receive a sister who in just a few weeks will receive her doctorate degree in physical therapy. But, yes, but she values even more her role as a devoted wife. Please welcome Sister, soon-to-be Dr. Jamila Muhammad.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his servant and messenger. Assalamu alaikum. Our power in marriage begins with the power of a good choice in a mate. You may have never looked at yourself as such, sisters, but you are a part of the divine. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us that we are not the women of man, but we are the women of God. We belong to God and God alone. Praise be to Allah. The greatest gift to any man is a virtuous woman. A man who has such is the most blessed of men because she ensures his future. Allah gives to a worthy man a virtuous woman and his most prized possession, which is you and me. Would he want any old somebody to have his prized possession? Oh no, that must be a very carefully selected, analyzed, scrutinized choice. Are we making the best choice for ourselves? The Honorable Louis Farrakhan says, the purity of a young woman's love is so overwhelming to a man, and our enemies have made our men to become agents of them and to destroy that pure love, so we get disappointed. But our happiness is in us acting out our own nature, and our own nature is to demand good treatment. Praise be to Allah. And we don't have to do anything but to insist by resisting. You know, we accept the role of girlfriend, not wife, but wifey, side chick, sex buddy. But we don't need another book written by Steve Harvey or anybody else to tell you that's not for you. Sisters, praise be to Allah. After difficulty comes ease. Sex is ease, but first he has to go through that difficulty of the responsibility and commitment of being a husband, then he can have ease. Yes, ma'am. A husband comes from the word husbandman, meaning one who cultivates the rich earth. He sows or adds to it. He protects and maintains it. So there is good, sweet fruit produced from that earth. He is to bring out the best in you. The man for you has to have the mind of Christ, Christ who was and is the example of God in a man. We may not find him in his fully manifested state, but he has to be in that striving. You mothers are in the place of God until our babies know who God is. So you, mother, are the one to raise your boys to revere the woman so that he can have that mind of Christ, so that he can grow up to be a husband worthy of God's woman. And we raise our, praise be to Allah, yes. And we raise our girls to then mind their bodies at a young age, and we prohibit them from having any type of, we just protect them from any male, period, okay? That means family members, everything. In the Nation of Islam, we have courtship. We don't date. We prohibit premarital sex because it interferes with the process of judgment. It's like intoxicating like a DUI. You get that green light, but it's really red telling you to stop. And in courtship is the word court, a place where justice is administered. Evidence is brought to the table with the intention to marry. We don't enter courtship without that intention, meaning we're not to be with a man for years only to find out later that he never wanted to be married in the first place. Yeah, that's real. Cross-examination is a courting procedure. That's direct testimony that we have to challenge to see if the truth is being told. Witnesses are called in, family, friends, past spouses if need be, to attest to that man's character. And oh yes, there's even court fees, sister. We have to make sure that that man is able to take care of a wife financially. So, that's real. So a good marriage can and does happen, but it comes from a good courtship. So I pray that you have found value in the words that I've given, and there is a video demonstration that will illustrate the unit how to take care of husband. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
I just want to note our last presenter, Sister Jamila, is only 28 years old. She's been married for 3 years. Many of the illnesses plaguing our people can be prevented, improved, and even cured through eating the right foods at the right time, prepared in the right manner. Our next presenter is a licensed neurologist who completed medical school by the age of 26. She is now 32 years old. Her presentation will show the power to maintain the health of yourself and your family through the knowledge of how to cook. Please welcome Sister Dr. Jessica Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, we give Him praise and thanks for His infinite mercy in giving us guidance through the prophets and the scriptures. We thank Him for Moses and the Old Testament, for Jesus and the New Testament, for Muhammad and the Quran. Peace be upon these worthy servants of Almighty God. I could never thank God enough for His intervention in our affairs in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, who searched and found among us one on whom He could lay a weighty word, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, teacher of the man in our midst today and this morning, a mercy and a blessing to the human family, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I want to greet all of my beloved sisters with the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. According to the Center for Disease Control, 45.7% of black women have high blood pressure. So that's almost half. Blacks tend to develop high blood pressure at an earlier age. In 2013, 14% of US high school students were obese. And the American Heart Association says blacks have nearly twice the risk of having their first stroke compared to whites. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait. Sister Jessica, I thought you were going to talk about cooking. Well, my sisters, I'm not standing before you to reveal the secret recipe for bean pie. I'm sorry. But I am here to talk to you about the science of cooking. Cooking is the art and craft of mixing chemicals in the form of herbs and spices, meats and vegetables, in a way that scientifically restores the human body and simultaneously pleases the palate. Our open enemy has created a society that intentionally takes us out of the kitchen and away from our role as the chemist and primary doctor in our home. All praises due to Allah. So we adamantly declare ourselves to be independent women, and yet we find ourselves slaves to monthly prescriptions that started with putting the skillet down and picking the fast food up. They say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. They say you are what you eat. One of the means by which we would be able to recognize the Messiah, according to Scripture, is that he would teach the people what foods to eat and what foods to store. So there's something very powerful about food at the right time, prepared the right way. As it says in the Holy Quran, and eat of that which Allah God has provided for you, of what is lawful and good. As the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has taught us, the home is our base, not necessarily our place. He goes on to say, and I quote, when a woman really knows what cooking is, the science of food, then the woman who's in the kitchen, she's either your doctor or your killer. Whatever problem that you have, it can be fixed with food. Our home and our kitchen are the launching pad from which we send our children out into the world. It's the place where our families are resuscitated and healed from the abuses out there. Your food choices are either your medicine or your poison, your life or your eventual destruction. Now, you've heard of omega-3 fatty acids in the media and how they're supposed to be good for you, and trans fat is supposed to be bad for you. So scientists simulated the junk food diet by taking rodents, and they fed them a high-sugar, high-trans fat diet. And what they found was that with these experimental rodents, there was a greater challenge to their learning, and they were impaired in their ability to bounce back from neuronal damage to the brain. Well, what does that have to say about that diet and its effect on us? Scientists are in the laboratory studying the impact of food, but giving us easy access to McDonald's. And do you think that the CEO of McDonald's is sitting and contemplating how he's going to help give us life and give it to us more abundantly? I would say not. And yet, we would be willing to trade the healthy development of our children and ourselves for a Happy Meal toy. Something to think about. Good health is very much a choice, and it's not a choice that should start after disease strikes. See, when we fall into bad health, we know the steps that got us there. We think about the cocaine we couldn't put down until it gives us a heart attack, or the cigarettes we couldn't let go of until the cancer, or that boyfriend we wouldn't let go of until the STD. We remember the signs we passed on our way to illness. Thank you. But the same remains true with our diet when we get these diseases that are so prevalent in our community. We go to our doctors and hear them tell us we have hypertension or diabetes, and one of the first things that come up is, what are you eating? cut down on the sweets, lighten up on the salt, right? So as I conclude, I want to emphasize that God gave us a digestive system for the primary purpose of absorbing nutrients from our diet in order to provide energy needed for the rest of the organs in the body to function. A fuel-powered machine cannot function without fuel, and bad fuel will break down a good machine. But higher in value than any machine is the craftsmanship of God Himself, the precious, magnificent, divinely crafted temple of the human body. Dear sisters, you are the doctors, you are the chemists, you are the healers in your home by God's permission. In the laboratory of your kitchen, take back the power to bring and maintain good health in your home. And now I'd like to present a short video clip that demonstrates the principle of how to cook. Thank you.
Our next presenter is an educator and serves as the Dean of Girls in Muhammad University of Islam. She is also a wife and mother who will speak on how the knowledge of properly rearing children can empower us to produce gods. As it is written in the Bible, the book of Psalms, ye are gods, children of the Most High God. To present the training unit, How to Rear Their Children, please receive Sister Janice Muhammad.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I too, like those before me, bear witness that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is His messenger. I greet all of you with the greeting words of peace and paradise of Assalamu alaikum. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches that the universe is a womb that is pregnant and constantly bringing forth new life. This womb, called universe, is so mysteriously magnificent that whatever Allah God desires to bring forth, He just brings it forth out of the magnificence of the womb. So it is with our womb, which is patterned after the womb of the universe. That same force and power that brings forth life out of the universe's womb is the same force and power that is found in our wombs. God uses the womb of the female as His workshop, and it's through the sacredness of our wombs that we have the power to produce children greater than what has ever been produced before. When we are blessed with the expectation of new life, our wombs become the laboratory of God Himself, and we become the co-creator, the co-producer, and the co-worker with the Creator of the heavens and the earth.